Welcome welcome all to the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun in Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how great these are in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name's Tyler. Welcome to the show. Joining me today on the Snail Trail podcast is the one and only Jimmy Jet. How the hell are you, bud?
I'm good. Yeah. I thought you were going to say, and camping in Fords are, then this is the podcast for you.
I mean, technically we weren't camping in a Ford.
Okay. Camping in Lances are.
That could work. Yeah.
On a Ford.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair definition of it. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm good. Thank you.
Good.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see that you survived the weekend.
I did.
Yeah.
We almost died.
A few times. Of course.
It's okay.
That's how camping is with you.
Yep. We'll get into that. It's fun stories.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got a bunch to go over today.
We have a lot of housekeeping to do. We ran through the numbers of all the giveaway people and the FNGs and birthdays and everything like that. So we've got some information to give you. We've got some updates to do, and then both have been up to a lot of stuff. So we have a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I guess without further ado, should we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. FNGs. Let's start there. Let's do FNGs, birthdays, all that good stuff. We have a wiener to announce for some Devos goodies. So let's start here with birthdays.
Birthdays.
So we have 1 year birthdays, right?
Yeah, we have 0 FNGs.
So this will be
the month of March.
True.
And now we're on to April birthdays.
April birthdays. So 1 year for April. We got 3 here.
Ooh, nice.
We got Carl Green.
Carl Green, congratulations. You just won something recently. I can't remember what it was, but you just won. So congratulations.
Nice. Scott Solberg.
Mr. Solberg, yeah.
And Dan's Drives.
1 year. Congratulations.
Yeah. I wonder if he's related to Diners and Drives.
Maybe. Or Jimmy Drives or
maybe
Tyler Drives.
Yeah. That's funny. Next one up is 2 years. So we're getting into 2 year birthdays.
Okay.
Weimer Electric.
Weimer Electric. You hanging out with Dan Drives?
I know, right? We got Dan Drives and Weimer Electric. That's awesome. We got James Ginsburg.
Oh, Mr. Ginsburg.
He does some really cool stuff. Check out Ginsburg Fabrication on Instagram. And Brian Moffitt.
Oh, Mr. Moffitt. Thank you.
And Jim Ray Reap.
Jim Ray Reap.
Jim Ray.
Buddy.
Jimmery.
I'm going with Jimmery.
Jimmery? Jimmery?
Because it's sort of like my name.
You're a little conceited. So next up.
It's true.
That's interesting. I see. Next up is 3 years. Oh, we got a lot of 3 years.
Tres años.
A lot of 3 years. This will all go for a while here.
Ready.
Here we go. Casey Hallinan.
Thank you.
Ryan Musta.
I'm
going to go with Musta.
I'm going with Ryan.
You're going with Ryan?
Ryan.
Ryan?
Ryan.
Going with Ryan.
Ryan
Musta.
Thanks, Ryan Musta. Up there in Boise.
You got Dave McKinney.
Mr. McKinney.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. 3 years.
We are going to have Dave on the show here soon to talk about Rubicon Trail Adventures.
Okay.
And everything they do. So
I'm down with that.
We got Corey Cairns.
I can just set my mic down on that one because there's no way I'm going to be able to talk between you and Dave.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk with Dave here. Yeah. So,
too funny. Yeah. Corey Cairns, thank you very much. Our lawless friend.
Wesley Vieira.
3 years. Thank you.
Doug Higbee.
Mr. Higbee. Yeah. Haven't seen you in a long time. Where you been?
How's the rig doing, Doug? Andrew Klempt.
Oh, Andrew Klempt. Congratulations, Andrew.
Ultra 4 racer extraordinaire, Trent Roberts.
3 years. Thank you, buddy. Missed you on the last episode.
I know. It's okay. Mr. Rhea did a good job for you.
Yeah.
Anthony Martinez.
Mr. Martinez. Anthony. 3 years.
Evan Cook. There's some big names here.
I expected him higher up that list.
I thought he was too. I wonder if he had a lapse there. Evan, if you did, let us know if you want your original birthday. Otherwise, happy 3 year birthday, buddy. And Aaron Little.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Little Aaron.
Yeah.
Thank you. 3 years.
That's all the 3 years.
All right. That was a lot.
That was a lot. It was a good list there.
It must have been when we moved over to Irate and we got the gift boxes going there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I think that's when we started the gift boxes, right? Or did we start?
No, we started gift boxes. I don't remember. We started it pretty soon, right? Or pretty promptly, right? As we did Patreon. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an Irate transition over. We transitioned, Jimmy.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. 4 years?
4 years, zero. No fours.
0 4 years.
And one 5 year.
1 5 year.
Who's now eligible for the 5 year gift.
All right.
Mr. Robert Hogg.
Robert
Hoggy.
Hoagie.
We call it Hoggy.
A hoagie.
Robert Hoggy.
Like the sandwich. A hoagie.
No. He's not that cool.
Oh.
He's a cool dude, but not as cool as Hoagies.
All right.
Yeah.
Robert, I'll confirm your mailing address and get you out to your 5 year gift.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, everybody, for playing along and supporting the podcast. Definitely goes a long way to keeping me and Jimmy interested in sitting down and hitting the big red button each week and talking and conversing and hanging out and having fun with you guys. Doing some cool stuff with some cool vendors, such as... Oh, we didn't do FNGs.
We didn't have any.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Yep.
We did do FNGs. I was not paying attention.
Yeah. You were busy organizing life over there. But yeah, you did it so well because we didn't have any of them. So.
Dude, I'm good. I'm good, man. That's what I'm here for.
We did have a few sad people leave this last month, but we don't announce those.
No.
Wah, wah.
Nope. We do just shame you privately.
Yes.
We'll message you and shame you.
Yeah.
So.
Emails.
Yeah.
Very stern.
Yeah.
Emails. No, but we appreciate everybody's support and the continued support that you guys have given us for some of you guys coming up on 5 years here. Super exciting. And big thank you from Tyler and I for that. Yes.
Yep.
Along with the review or the Patreon membership or Irate membership or PayPal membership, whatever we're calling it. We do monthly giveaways. And last month we gave away a Devos Light Ranger.
Yep.
And we got a winner.
We have a winner, Mr. Petty.
Mr. Petty.
Petty 1111111.
Yes.
I think the last time he won something was one of the swag giveaways for reviews.
Oh, maybe.
I think he was the Petty 11111. Patrick Eddy. So Patrick, we have a Devos Light Ranger for you, which is pretty freaking rad. It's really cool. If you guys did not get a chance to listen to all the new stuff that Devos has been up to, go back and listen to the episode. We'll pop it down in the show notes for you guys. It's really cool stuff. They're adding in more technology. They're adding in more convenience and bolstering the capabilities of the lights overall too. So a lot of really cool updates in the Light Ranger 2000. I'm really anxious to get my hands on one here soon. And Patrick, we have one for you. So we'll get your address confirmed and get in contact with you and get that sent out right away.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
I'm a little jealous myself.
Yep. Let's see. Some of the other companies we do some fun things with. We have a giveaway going for reviews right now, and that's over at Apple Podcasts. If you leave a review, once we get to 700 reviews, which I think there was only 9 spots left as of last Thursday or Monday, I forget which one it was. But there was only like 9 spots left to get in for the Onyx 1 year elite membership. And then a little swag pack from SnailTrail4x4 and Morphlate. So there's only 9 more spots, and we'll pull a winner from those 700 reviews to win that one. So cool stuff from Onyx. They've just started announcing and advertising the new cell phone layer. So I got a couple emails.
Oh yeah,
announcing the new cell phone signal layer for the Onyx off-road. And I went out and tried it a little bit this weekend, and it worked fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that.
Yep. We'll get into it in a bit. So that was really neat. If you guys have not gotten into Onyx yet, and I highly, highly recommend it. The number one thing that we love to do as off-roaders is to go and get lost, right? We like to get out away from society. And even though our goal is to kind of get lost out in the woods, out in the mountains, we still need to know where we are and how to get back home.
Sure.
So Onyx does an awesome job at doing that. So check it out. It's a very, very useful tool for anybody going out, just anybody in outdoor recreation, not just vehicular recreation. So
yeah,
check it out. Good stuff. And then once we reach 750 reviews, we're working with Yokohama to do some tires, a full set of whatever tire you want. It just has to be a regular compound, so a non-sticky compound, so no racing tires, and a rim, a wheel less than 20 inches wide, diameter. So not wide. That's a wide wheel. 20 inch, Jesus Christ. 20-inch diameter, which is for the most part all their off-road tires and like almost all their passenger vehicle tires in total. So it's a really cool opportunity that we got to work with Yokohama to do that for you guys. A full set of tires, anything you want there. Once we reach 750 reviews, we will do a drawing for one grand prize winner for that set of tires. So the sooner we get to 750, the sooner we get to do that drawing, the sooner we get to give away a set of tires, and you can enter as many times as you want. You just have to find ways to leave multiple reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. So go over to iTunes or Apple Podcast or whatever they're calling it and just leave a review. And once you leave a review, it's there forever. And when we continue to do more giveaways after 750, you will automatically be entered. So just go over to Apple Podcast, leave a review, and that's it. And when we get to the key numbers, we'll draw a name and hopefully you guys win.
Yep. It's good stuff. So that's a couple more of the companies we really do enjoy working with. And then of course, 4-Wheel Underground, which Jimmy is playing around with his 4-Wheel Underground stuff right now. So we'll get into that later in the episode here as well. And the 4Runner is coming off tracks and getting its tires put back on. And then as soon as the tires are on, getting the springs swapped out to the iBox springs I got from Brian.
Nice.
And this is one of the things I really like about working with Brian and why you should work with 4-Wheel Underground. I've had a couple people texting me over the past few days about 4-Wheel Underground and the service and the products and everything. And they were going back and forth on like, should I just have a shop fabricate the system? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like there's time and labor in the engineering and fabrication process. And if it's not something that the shop does a lot of, like they specialize in suspension, the 4-Wheel Underground stuff is already figured out. The geometry is figured out. It's been proven. It works really well. It's not the cheapest thing around, but in order to get the peace of mind that it's engineered properly, because that's their specialty and what they do. And the work and labor is already done. So like, it's mainly just the cost of manufacturing everything. It's going to cost you way less to go with 4-Wheel Underground kits than to have a shop customize a suspension for you.
Absolutely.
So, that and the after the service and the peace of mind, like I was having some issues with the springs on my coilovers. Technically the coilovers are Radflow, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not a 4-Wheel Underground product. It's Radflow.
Correct.
The springs were I think he was doing a super spring or mag. I don't remember what spring it was originally, but he was like, yeah, those were garbage. He goes, we're doing iBox now. And they're way better, way more stability. I was having some issues with the iBox, with the old springs, and he sent me new iBox springs. And I was like, is this something that you're doing just because it's me and I have a voice, or is this something you do for everybody? He goes, no, I do this for everybody.
Okay.
So it's that peace of mind that if you have issues with 4-Wheel, anything you buy from Brian at 4-Wheel Underground, he's going to make it right and stick with you as a customer for life. So peace of mind, it's going to be less than having a shop custom make you a suspension and have to go through the engineering, figuring out how to package everything. He's got it all figured out. Just do it. Go with 4-Wheel Underground. So
yeah, that easy.
It is really. And then the install is almost as easy too, but
it really is. Yeah. And we'll talk about some of that later.
If Jimmy can do it, you guys can too. Okay. No,
yeah. Somewhat true. Yeah. So too funny.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
The giveaway this month.
Yes.
Is with us.
Oh, what are we giving away? A shoe?
We're giving away one of our shoes each.
Feet pictures
to a lucky winner.
Oh,
a lucky winner. No, we're giving away our gift boxes.
We're giving away a box, Tyler's box.
Tyler's box. We have 2 lucky winners. They're each going to win a gift box. And the gift boxes, this is our biannual gift box that are going out. We have ones that go out in April and ones that go out in November. And the ones that are going out in April here are going out anytime soon, anytime this moment. They should be shipped. I think we jumped the gun a little bit last week. We said, oh, they're going out right now. But you guys know us. Yep. So they will be shipped this week. We'll get them out to you guys. Maybe next Thursday or Monday, who knows? We can talk about the boxes. We'll figure that out by when you guys start receiving them.
Yep.
So if you want to get in to get a gift box from us, you need to go over to irate4x4, log in, and go down to the Snail Squad section, and then all the sign up options are right there. This is one of 2 times during the year that you can sign up to get into the gift box tier. That you can only sign up and get in April and in November. So if you are interested in doing it, you need to do it now, or you're going to be waiting till November to get in for that. So go over there, log in to irate4x4, and go and sign up if you want to get a gift box from us.
Sweet.
Talking about adding or maybe subtracting tiers. If you're moving tiers, we say this every time because this is the time, the season that it happens. But if you're going to be changing any tiers, you need to unsubscribe to those tiers through your PayPal account. So if you're going to drop out of a tier, or you're unsubscribing or leaving, whatever reason it is, you need to do that on your end. It's not done through us. It's not done through irate4x4. If you're changing a tier on irate4x4, it's not automatically dropping the previous tier. You're just signing up for another one. So you need to go in and you need to cancel your tier that you're no longer interested in. If you want to be in multiple tiers, we're fine with that too. So, there's that PSA.
Cool. All right. Good stuff. Is that it for housekeeping?
That's a lot of it. I wanted to give a special thank you to Jake Gallo.
Oh, okay.
Because when we were at Winter Fun Fest, we talked about almonds.
You got to put some of his nuts in your mouth.
I did.
I see where this is going. Okay.
The assistant got around to roasting and salting the almonds that I got from Jake Gallo, and they are fantastic.
Nice.
I don't know whether I did eat some of the raw ones, and those were fantastic too. So I don't know if it's just really good almonds with the base, and then, my wife did an okay job, or if they were good almonds and my wife did a really good job. One or the other. They're really good. I am having a hard time stopping eating them. And I'm definitely going to try to keep them away from bears this year. So, but thank you, Jake Gallo, for the almonds. I wanted to say thank you.
I need to try roasting them, because what I do with mine, what I do with Jake's nuts, is I made up a rosemary garlic salt.
Ooh, okay.
And then I have that like in a bag, like a gallon Ziploc bag, and I just keep adding almonds to it and then shake it around and then snack on those.
No.
You gotta
doing
roast
it all
them?
wrong.
Doing it all wrong? Okay.
We'll talk to the assistant, and we'll get the recipe over to you, and then you can add that rosemary salt as the topper. Okay. But it's something like you will almost brine them first. You cook it in a salt water for a second, and then you pull them out and dry them off, and then put them on a rack and then roast them.
Okay.
So there was some combo like that, but she has the recipe, so we can get that over to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested. You keep talking up about roasting nuts, and I'm like, I don't know if I've ever had roasted almonds or nuts before. So
I guess I'll just have to bring
I'm just
some
too
in.
lazy. I'm just don't want to eat them raw.
I don't blame you there. Let's see. The only other, I have 2 more things. This one's one of them. But the other thing is the block party for Stellar Built is Saturday.
Yes.
So in a few days, Stellar Built at their warehouse is going to have a block party, their 10th anniversary of being in business. It's turning out to be looks like a big show. Like it's going to, a lot of people are turning up. It's going to be a big event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Show up early if you want parking, show up late if you want to walk a distance. It's going to be a cool event. I'm excited to be out there. Yep. You're going to be out there. A lot of people are going to be out there. It seems like some big names are coming into town for this. It's going to be pretty cool. So if you're around Sacramento and you don't have anything planned on Saturday, head out to Stellar Built.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we jump into your birthday weekend,
Yeah.
do you want to open your birthday present?
Sure.
Okay. I had to cover.
I feel like there's a lot of clothes can fit in that box.
There are a lot of clothes. I did joke about getting you clothes.
Oh, God.
I papered it so that you couldn't know who it was from immediately. Because their logos are on the outside.
Their logos are on the outside, but it's a Morphlate box.
Yeah, I stamped it.
Oh, you just okay. I thought you just grabbed one of our shipping, although these are not one of our shipping boxes. So
yeah, there you go. All right.
The label on the outside does say not a sex toy, so there is that warning disclaimer, I guess, for the box. Hold on.
Just putting the mic down.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
this is a H10 optic. I don't know. Is that the model of it?
Yeah.
So an RC scale RC Ultra 4 car from Vanquish. But what's really interesting here is that it looks like it's a. Oh no, that's the whole axle. I was like, okay, got it. Yeah, it's full hydro, which is fun. I'm trying to stay on the microphone. Do. The hell? There's a trail buggy drivetrain layout. Oh, wow. I've never been into RC cars because I'm like, if I have money to spend, I want to spend it on the actual car. But I've always admired how to scale these things are.
Right? It's so cool.
This is crazy. I wonder what the spring rate is on these. What are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
These are not dual spring rates. Okay. We need
they're not.
I need different coilovers on here.
Yeah. So it's a Vanquish car. I forgot they have an RTR. They have a name for it. I forgot what the actual. It's an H10 optic trail buggy. And it has all kinds of accessories that came with it. They also gave you a charger and a battery for it. And it's the RTR, ready to run style. And what's fun about this is it's a Yokohama style. Yeah. So it's we're sponsored by Yokohama. They know we're sponsored by Yokohama. They've worked with Yokohama, and they've worked with Yokohama specifically for the tires.
Okay,
which are the Geolanders.
Tires, yeah.
These are the same tires that Tyler runs on Kermit.
They're sticky.
And so when the opportunity came around, we kind of worked out a deal for some snail armor products, and they're kind of like, hey, we'll be happy to give you an RC car. And I was like, I'm probably just going to give it to Tyler for his birthday present. And they're like, oh, we're going to give you the Yokohama one. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's really cool. There's all kinds of upgrades you can do to it. You can go straight to, you can actually do metal axles with portals and all kinds of things with these things, which is rad. So another thing that they did was Vanquish is giving all of our listeners 15% off code Tyler's birthday for the remainder of the month on any of these styles car, the H10 style, and any of the products that runs on this platform. So if you guys have one of these, like I'm looking at you, Nick Ramsey, who just actually won one in December. If you want upgrades, or if you have one of these cars, or you want to build one of these cars, or you want to get one of these cars, there's a 15% off discount code right now for us from Tyler, more or less. Tyler's birthday.
You're welcome, guys.
You can grab them over there at Vanquish. Also, while I was at Vanquish, I saw an old time friend. I've never there's Brandon over there, who is an avid listener of the podcast, a great guy we interviewed last time when you were on maternity or paternity leave.
My maternity leave.
Yep.
Okay.
But an old buddy of SnailTrail4x4 YouTube channel, B Reynolds.
Oh,
is now
working at Vanquish?
No shit. Yeah.
That's cool. Hi, Brian, if you're listening.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah.
It was fun to see you. He came over. He plasma cutted Samantha's independent suspension off way back in the day. Yeah. So if you've been listening around of the podcast for a long time, you'll know that happened. But it was fun to see him as well.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I got to catch up.
That's just sweet. Is this essentially Shirley's car?
I don't know.
Is it modeled after Levi Shirley, or is it modeled after one of the other Yokohama guys?
I think it's just one of their models that they had slapped the Yokohama stuff on it. But it has a Toyota.
I noticed that
grill.
Yeah, the Toyota grill. It also has a power tank on it. I don't know about those guys. They're a little shiesty.
No, Steve's our buddy.
Yes, he is. I'm doing a Rubathon with Steve this year.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to hang out with those guys on the trail. I need a little Morphlate set for this now.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk off air because they're coming out with a new vehicle or a new body or there's something new coming. New model. And I think in July, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, we need to have you guys back on. Maybe we can work something out and we can give another car away to a listener. And he said, well, I need to get your guys' decals because we might be able to put them on the car.
No shit.
Yeah. So we might have Morphlate and SnailTrail4x4 on the car on the next vehicle.
Nice.
Which would be fun.
I'm going to raise the suspension lift on this thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's cool. There's so much like a real car that you can tweak them and play with them and change the spring rates. And
disappointed I can't change my preload on my coilovers right now. Just the lift. So I'm just putting that out there, guys.
You don't need it. So of course, enough about lithium ion batteries. So that just don't leave it charging and all that jazz. But we can talk about more stuff off air if you have any questions about the car. But happy birthday.
Thank you.
I figured this would be a fun present for you and the baby, and he can chase it around and you can try to drive it.
So much fun chasing this thing around.
Yeah. Well, he'll just drive it into a wall at this age, but
yeah,
he can chase it around and you can scare the cats and dog.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I've always been fascinated with RC cars, but I've never wanted to spend the money on them before. So this will be a really interesting thing for me to probably end up spending money on in the long run. So,
well, and the benefit about these RTR cars, they're ready to run. They're it's built and it's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to spend a lot of money. The only money that you're going to spend on this now is upgrades. If you want to change something out.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's what Vanquish does really well is they allow you to almost customize and modify anything that you want. When I was there, they said, hey, come inside, come into the warehouse. You need to go to the warehouse, their shop, by the way. The CNC mills that they have, or CNC, I think they're mills that they have, maybe lathes also, but they are just insane with robotic arms moving things from one to the other.
Have a bunch of 5-axis mills in there.
Oh, it's nuts. And so he wanted to show me the new wheel machine that they just got that's dedicated to making wheels. And what was coming off of the machine was replicas of Battleborn wheels.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, how cool is this? I'm like, what'd you guys do? Go up to Battleborn? He's like, yeah, we went up there for a few days, like a week or so ago, and we got worked with them and got their specs and figured out how to shrink it down so it still looks like theirs but can work in our machines. And I was like, dude, that's so bad. And so they actually have this same vehicle in a yellow and black configuration that has Battleborn on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that steering.
Yeah, that's legit.
That's awesome.
Is it hitting the link?
It is. Yep.
You can turn so much that you can hit the links. That's rad.
I also like how the steering is set up where it looks like a full hydro, but there is a mechanical linkage arm underneath it.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's technically a 4,600 car.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, thank you. This is going to be so much fun to, as from everybody I've heard that this becomes like an addicting hobby.
I'm sure it does.
We'll see if it ends up being that addicting.
Yeah.
I just want to keep sitting here squeezing the tires.
I know their tires are rad, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Well, congratulations. Happy birthday. All that. I hope you enjoy. We'll have to get yours out and then we'll pull my Marlin crawler truck out of off the shelf and we can go drive around. Maybe we'll get Brandon to bring some cool vehicles out. I know Hustle Nuts, it really likes these as well. So we have a little crowd that we can go out to Folsom Lake and we can just like putz around on some rocks out there.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I do want to know if they can make some 10.5-inch diamond axles on Reed Super Kingpin knuckles to put on the car.
Yeah.
Just saying, guys.
With Tundra third members.
Yeah, with Tundra dropouts. Anyways, this is super cool. Thank you to Vanquish. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. I'm excited to play around with it and see what trouble I can get into. So
yes, too cool.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else before we get into what we've been up to?
I don't think so. I think that was a good long 30-minute list of things that are going on right now. So let's jump over to what we've been up to and we can talk a little bit about Samantha and your camping weekend.
Cool. Sounds good. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right on back with the main chunk of today's show. Hey guys, I love going out wheeling and I love playing in the outdoors, and one of the main tools I rely on for all of the activities is onX Off-Road. onX keeps me in the know, it keeps me on the trails, and it keeps me from getting lost so that I can make it back home to my family and friends. There's tons of tools and data available for outdoor activities on the app that helps you plan your next trip, and it helps keep the adventures rolling. Start your free trial over at onxmaps.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentle ladies, everybody out there. We had to take a quick break. I wanted to go play with my new car. And we're back now, though, because we forgot that we had a show to record. And we're back. So to record the show and get some work done.
Yeah. What did you think of the car?
It was fun.
It zooms around.
I got to stretch out the articulation on the forklift, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It almost beat the 4Runner in ratio. So. Oh. Brian, you're doing better than a 4,600 car here, just FYI.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited. This is cool. I've never had an RC car before and it should be fun.
Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah. Let's see what we've been up to. You got to work on Samantha.
I did.
Speaking of a suspension, I'm really excited to hear how much further you got and what you've been doing with that. I went camping.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about with my camping trip, so I'll go first because I really want to hear and spend a majority of the time today talking about the suspension stuff.
Sure.
The goal was originally to go camping Friday night and Saturday night. So leave Friday noonish.
Yeah.
And then come back home Sunday mid-afternoon.
Right. Well, we left off last time. You had no idea where you were going.
True.
Okay.
Very true. So I used the iOverlander app.
Yeah.
That ReRim introduced us to.
Yep.
And checked out some dispersed camping spots along the way and tried to figure out where the snow level was. And I was guesstimating snow level was 55 to 6,000 feet, maybe 6,500 in some places, depending on tree cover. By the way, onX has a satellite imagery that you can pull up on their app that shows you, I think, within the last 2 weeks of actual satellite data from NOAA. Satellite imagery.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what I was looking at that to gauge where the actual snow is. So I was like, it's somewhere 55, 6,500 is what my guess was. So I found some spots that were about 55 to 6,000 feet, the lower end of the snow level, but still high enough elevation to be fun, in my opinion. Like if I'm camping at like 3,000 feet, I'm like, boring. I want to be higher up.
Yeah. Tyler doesn't start to have fun till he gets to around 10,000 feet.
Pretty much. Yeah. And then I get cerebral edemas because I get too much fun. So let's see. So no, we found some spots along Highway 88.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of a secluded highway.
Yeah.
It's one of the passes over the Sierras. There's a Highway 80, which is Donner Summit, that everybody knows about. Highway 50 that goes from down to South Lake Tahoe, up and over not Ebbets Pass. Or is it Ebbets?
I don't know.
I bet it is.
It's Donner's Pass, right?
Yeah, Donner Summit on one side, and then Ebbets Pass is the other one. It's not Ebbets Pass. That's 88, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Anyways, that's that one. Those are the two main accesses in and out of California through the Sierras, right? And they've opened up a few others.
Northern California ones.
Sorry, through the Sierras. Yeah, there's no Sierras in SoCal.
Yeah, but there's the Central.
No one talks about Central Cal. Anyways,
there's 108, there's 120, there's
yeah. So I mean, there's a few passes that go through California, through the Sierras. 50 and 80 are the two main ones that most people know about, right? And then Highway 88 is this nice little like 2-lane secluded pass that goes up and over the Sierras. And what's really neat about 88 is that it follows a canyon, kind of like 50 and 80 does, but it's such a smaller canyon. It just feels more cozy, niche. Right. I don't know what the right word would feel for it, but we're like, well, let's go up 88 this time. Okay. We do a lot of trips up 50 and 80.
Yeah.
So let's go somewhere a little bit different. Found a couple of dispersed sites that kind of got up onto a ridge and then overlooked the Highway 88 highway and canyon right there.
Interesting. Okay.
And so we went up and started looking around, and before we went, we were starting to think, do we want to go for 2 nights with the baby as like the first wild camping trip with him? Like,
okay,
we're on our own. Like, I would say the first camping trip we went on him was Sierra Trek. But there's a lot of infrastructure there at Sierra Trek, right?
Yeah.
There's a little town that's set up at Summit City there by Fordyce Lake or Meadow Lake. And so I was like, we've done that and it went okay. And then we've had him out a couple other times, but not in the Lance since then.
Okay.
So we're like, we're going to be by ourselves, secluded, no infrastructure whatsoever. The plan was dispersed camping. Do we want to do 2 nights as the first time doing this, or do we want to keep it a little easy and safe as a learning experience in case something happens, we can dip out and get out of here? So we decided to do 1 night.
Okay.
So go up Saturday and then come back Sunday.
Got
it. So on Saturday, we also figured out, we got married at a winery.
Yes.
Amador Cellars. And we were trying to think of how many, we got a wine club there. And we realized that we hadn't been there in a while. And we were trying to figure out how long it's been since we've been to the winery to pick up our wine club shipments.
Yeah.
And the secretary was like, I think it's been like 2 years. I was like, no way.
Oh, man.
We've been wine tasting since then. We had to have gone by.
Yeah.
And then we started thinking about it. I was like, we haven't been there with Reed. And we didn't go wine tasting while she was pregnant.
Right.
So I was like, shit. It may have been 2 years since we've been to our wedding cellar.
Yeah.
Amador Cellar, our wedding venue. And so we're like, well, I guess we need to go. And it's kind of on the way to 88.
Yeah. Sort of.
You go up through Jackson or not through Jackson. You go up through the 49 split. And what is that other one? Anyway, the other highway 16, 16 and 49, you continue on 15 minutes to get to Amador Cellar, right?
Yeah.
So I went up that way.
Is it in Plymouth?
I think so.
Yeah.
That area. So I went up there on the way. So we went there Saturday morning, and sure enough, we had 7 wine club shipments to pick up. Oh my gosh.
I bet they were pissed at you.
They kind of, when we walked in, they're like, hey, they recognized us. And we're like, hey, how's it going? We're like, we think we have a few wine club shipments to pick up. And they're like, oh, no, yeah, we haven't seen you in a while. They start looking up in the computer, and she kind of looks and she goes, you have 7 to pick up, and looks over at her mom. And they just kind of both were wide eyed, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then that made me start thinking, I was like, as a wine owner, a wine club owner, right? And you set up wine club shipments and people don't come, how long do you give them to come and pick up their wine clubs before you just sell the bottles and just give them whatever you have on hand when they do show up?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure that they just gave us 14 random bottles of whatever they had rather than holding on to our shipment from 2 years ago.
I went to this place in Plymouth area. And I signed up many years ago and I was a member for 1 year.
Okay.
And I signed up once and I didn't go back for a year.
Okay.
Right. And when I went back, I said, hey, I haven't been here for a while, but I'm here to do pickups. I thought I'd be able to make it out more often. And like, how many pickups do I have? And they're like, oh, you haven't been here for a year. You have like 4 pickups to do.
Okay.
And I said, okay, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be back. So I'm actually, I think I'm just going to cancel the membership. And they're like, okay, fine. And they gave me the pickups. I got 4 of the exact same bottles of wine. Like they gave me whatever the most recent pickup was. They just gave me 4 of them.
Oh.
Right. Okay. So I got the exact same thing 4 times. I'm like, that was stupid.
That was not cool. Yeah. So now not only did you cancel your wine club, but now you're telling other people to don't go there and get wine clubs. So yeah, that's not worth it, guys. People that run businesses out there do right by your customers. And they did right by us. We got a really nice assortment of wine.
Nice.
So I was very happy with the outcome of it, considering we fucked up and didn't go for 2 years.
Yeah.
But super cool people. They're awesome there. They have a lot of fun. They have this gorgeous little patio area that they've built recently with a fountain in it and some shade cover. It's kind of old Spanish style.
Okay.
So a really neat little patio area that we let Reed run around on. And one of Reed's favorite things to do right now is A, run, but B, climb in chairs and get out of the chairs and then climb back in the chair and get out and climb in and get out.
Sure.
So he was going all over this patio, climbing in all the chairs, jumping out of the chairs, going over, playing in the fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was running around, we were making a comment of, man, he's running pretty good. Like he's got pretty good balance and all that. And as soon as we're saying that, he goes and runs under the table and clotheslines himself on the edge of the table. And we're like, oh shit. And he's just laid out on the floor, this big old bump showing up on his head. And we're like, oh man, that hurt. And surprisingly, he didn't cry that bad.
Oh, really?
It was kind of like a little bit of like, ow, that hurt. And then he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to keep running around. And we're like, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're good.
Let him go.
Let him go. Let him keep running around.
Yeah.
Then he had his little water bottle, right? So there was at one point he was drinking his water in his chair, in the chair that he climbed up in. And then he climbs out of the chair and starts running over, and he's still getting used to his shoes. So every once in a while he'll drag his toe and not lift his foot up all the way.
Okay.
Drag his toe and just eat it.
Yeah.
But he's gotten used to doing that so much that typically he kind of catches himself and just slaps his chest on the floor, kind of thing. But since he was holding his water bottle, his face caught his landing on this one.
Oops.
On the brick patio. And that one he cried a lot on, and you heard the thud from his cheekbone hitting the brick floor. And he cried a while on that one, but
got it.
We were
Poor
like,
guy.
We were like, that's part of learning, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bubble wrap the dude, and I don't want to say he can't run around.
Right.
Like he's having so much fun running around, and we were the only ones there on the patio. So I was like, let him run around, let him get some energy out. And he's got to learn to pick up his toes somehow, one way or another. Right. So
running shoes in the house.
Yeah. I mean, our house is all tile floor. Yeah. Tile and hardwood. So like, even if he beefed and ate it, he'd still
face plant or hit hard. Yeah, for sure.
So anyways, so he had a nice bruise on his cheek all weekend. But that was the highlight of Saturday, was letting him run around that patio and kind of explore the patio. And he kept going to the steps, climbing down the steps, climbing up the steps, over to the fountain, putting his hands in the fountain, playing with it, then running over to the chair, getting in the chair, and then coming off. And then he would go back and do those 3 things just in a rotation.
Sure.
So that was fun. Just getting him out and kind of seeing how he does in kind of an opener environment.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go find our camping spot.
Okay.
the spot that I had originally chosen, the 2 spots I'd originally chosen ended up being in about a foot of snow.
Oh, okay.
And in the dually with the cab over, I'm not going to take the dually and the cab over with no recovery gear, no winch into any amount of snow. And so I was like, well, let's pull back open iOverlander and see if we can find something a little bit lower elevation. And we found a place called Sporiago Creek Resort.
Okay.
Google said it was open. We found another really cool Forest Service campground that said it was open. And we went to recreation.gov and it said that it was completely booked out already. I was like, it's really early in the season.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, I favorited it and I don't remember what it's called. I could look it up real quick if I wanted to, but it looks like a really cool campground that's kind of back at this neat lake that I really want to go check out now that we've kind of discovered that it's there. But anyways, we found this other place called Sporiago Creek Resort and Google said it was open.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go check it out. It's right about lower elevation there. So as we're going in, the gate was open.
Okay.
And we pull in and nobody around. There's no clear signs on where to check in or like how to check in. And the buildings were kind of like rundown buildings, but there was new machinery around, like a backhoe and a bunch of lumber cutting equipment.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
What do we do? Where do we go? Who do we talk to? Is there anybody here? And so I got out and started walking up to the buildings. As I'm walking up to the buildings, a guy in a truck starts driving out. And I'm like, hey, are you guys open for business? And he goes, I'm not sure. I'm just here helping out with maintenance stuff. And I was like, okay, well,
where do I go?
I was like, we're just looking for a spot for one night. You know, could we stay? Do you guys have space available? Can we get a spot, rent a spot from you or pay to be here or something? I don't hang out. And he goes, yeah, I'm sure the owner doesn't care. Go find a spot and have a good time. And I'm like, that doesn't sound super reassuring. Like,
yeah. Where's the owner?
I was like, who's the owner then? And how do I find out and get a spot and all this? And I was like, are other people here? He goes, nope, no one else is here. I was like, are you guys technically open? He goes, well, I mean, the gates are open, but usually we don't get anybody coming in until like summertime. I was like, okay. And I'm like, all right, well, he goes, have you been here before? I was like, nope. He goes, all right, well, here, follow me. I'll show you where some camp spots are that you can choose from. And then I'll let the owner know you guys are here. And I'm like, okay. So he goes and takes us down to some spots. It's actually a really cool location. There's like 3 to 4 different terraces.
Okay.
That you can kind of have open camping on. There's definitely fire rings in strategic locations and picnic tables in strategic locations. But for the most part, he was like, yeah, it's kind of open camping. You just kind of go wherever you want.
Nice.
There's a bathroom building that looks like it was big enough to have showers and everything in it too, but the building looked a little run down. But it was really neat. If you want dry camping, it looked like a really cool spot. So he goes, yeah, pick any spot you want. I'll come back and check on you guys later. I'll let the owner know you guys are here. He usually takes care of the nighttime stuff. And I'm like, what nighttime stuff is there to take care of at a camping place? I don't know. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just hang out and we'll plan on leaving tomorrow and we'll see you guys when we see you. He goes, perfect. We'll come back and check on you later. I said, okay, cool. Never saw him again.
Okay. Nobody
ever came by to check on us.
Yeah.
The whole time we were there, about 24 hours. And so on our way out, I was kind of like stopping and looking around like, where is people? Like, we never found anybody. Maybe he said the owner wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Couldn't find him, couldn't find the owner, couldn't find any instructions on where to go to check in or find the owner or anything. So we waited around about 15 minutes, kind of down where I ran into the guy in the first place. Nobody ever came by. So we're like, I guess we'll just go.
Okay. Yeah.
So we left.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were expecting us to pay for a site or if they truly didn't care, but I will say really cool location. Once you figure out how to
check in,
I guess. So if anybody's looking for a nice summer spot, like it would be a great spot to have a club, off-roading club meetup. You can meet up there and then go up to run Deer Valley or Strawberry Pass or something like that. It'd be a really fun camping area for an off-road club or people that want to go camp with buddies for a weekend.
Sure.
So
cool.
That was neat. The camping itself, I was a little disappointed in.
Oh,
just because it was not what I had in my mind, not my expectation.
What were you expecting? More remote?
No, I was expecting to kind of relax a little bit and be camping, get to set up a campfire, play with the chainsaw, split some wood.
Yeah.
Do my favorite camp item things. And I didn't really get to do any of it because we had a toddler that wanted to run around everywhere and eat everything. So it was just totally not what I was expecting. And I think that's really what the difference was. But the Reed did great overnight in the Lance. It got down around freezing that night, but the Lance heating system works awesome in that thing. So, and he had his own bed. We turned the dinette into a bed for him and found out how to baby proof it. So all that worked great. And Reed had a great time.
Yeah. Okay.
He was trying to run around everywhere and playing with rocks and playing with my chainsaw.
Yeah.
I don't think he's seen my chain. He has the little baby steel that John and Renee got him.
Yeah.
That he plays with at home, but he hasn't seen a big chainsaw yet. So he immediately goes over to my chainsaw and starts trying to grab the handle and pull the pull cord on it. And I was like, oh, it's funny. Really adorable. So
yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. And then he just tried to eat all the rocks and we're like, no. And it just became exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't really getting to relax.
Right.
That, and he, on flat ground, he was doing fine walking and running. But as soon as he started walking on rocks or sticks or anything that was uneven, he would just face plant. So we ended up having to kind of hold his hand everywhere we went too. So somebody always had to be next to him.
Sure.
To keep him from eating rocks, keep him from eating sticks or pine cones, and to keep him from falling on his face again.
Right.
And so it was just not what I was expecting. I'm glad we only went one night.
Yeah.
2 days.
Okay.
And it kind of made me think afterwards. We had a discussion about it once we got home, and she was kind of like, you didn't seem like you were having a lot of fun. And I was like, it just wasn't what I was. And we had this conversation.
Yeah, same conversation.
And then I was just like, that's just what, but it was getting better towards the end. He was able to start walking and running around without his hand being held.
Yeah.
And he was starting to explore a little bit more. And I was like, that was getting kind of fun to watch him do that. And he had a little bowl that he was kind of carrying around, a Tupperware bowl.
Yeah.
And so while he was sitting there one time, just kind of hitting it on the floor, I picked up a couple rocks and put a couple rocks in the bowl. And then he started picking up all these rocks and starting this little rock collection. And I was like, okay, that was pretty fun. So it's just a different mindset, new things to figure out what the new normal is.
Sure.
For camping. And it's a learning process and also training process for him on what he can and cannot do or should not be doing while camping.
Right.
So, learning process, not what I was expecting, but I'm excited to try again, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's, and I never went through this stage with the mini assistant, right? But my guess is it's just, he's used to being home. He's used to what he's allowed or not allowed to do. He's not used to being out and about in nature. And it's just a complete learning experience for him. Right. And I think that, and maybe he is too young to understand the ground rules of no, you can't put rocks in your mouth. No, don't put rocks in your mouth. When you get older, you could put rocks in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
When you understand that you can't swallow these or this isn't a choking hazard, you can put rocks in your mouth. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's just young. And I think he needs to continue to learn how to, how to walk a little better, how to understand a little more and what the guidelines are. And it's just the more you put him into that situation, the more he's going to learn about it.
Mhm.
And always the first time is going to be tough. Like your first day of hiring an employee is going to be the roughest day on that employee or the roughest day on you until that guy gets trained, and then things start getting easier.
Yeah.
So I think that's really kind of what it's at. You just don't give up because the first time you did it, it was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go more and continue to introduce them to this environment so that it gets easier and easier.
Yeah. That, and we had the dog with us too. And he's getting old. He's not moving around that well. And he's getting really clingy now. Like in the past, he's always been like, yeah, let's go chill under this table or under the car or something like that. And now he's like staying within like 2 feet of us.
Interesting.
And getting his leash wrapped around everything and knocking the baby over with the leash. And then I think he's starting to get hard of hearing too. Because there was a lot of times over the weekend where we'd be calling him, saying his name, and he just wasn't replying.
Oh.
And a couple times when we let him off leash to go exploring and kind of find some bushes to pee on and whatnot. And like, he just would not recall.
Interesting.
And we've been noticing that he's been paying less and less attention to us at home too. So I wonder if his hearing is starting to go. And that was trying to manage the baby and manage the hard of hearing old dog at the same time. It was just more stress than what I was looking forward to while camping.
Sure. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad that you actually got out and went to go do something and ended up bringing home a bunch of wine. That's fun.
That
exciting.
was awesome. Yeah.
Wish I would have known you were going. I would have had you pick us up another case.
Yeah.
They have some fantastic wine there.
They really do.
Really good.
They do have some good stuff there. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. How's Samantha going? And what did you get done? What have you been playing with over there?
Samantha's going well. Before I jump into Samantha, I worked on Samantha on Friday with Hustle Nuts, came over again. This seems to be a little trend, even though he's not going to be able to come over this week. So, but the weekend, we had a lot of aspirations to do yard work and get stuff done around the house and getting things ready for our party that's coming up in like 2 weeks. And, the assistant had a lot to drink on Saturday night and we did almost nothing. So that was our Saturday was getting ready we had a small party for my brother his birthday was a week ago. And then my parents' anniversary, 50th wedding anniversary was a few days after that. And so this was the first time we could get the families together to get everybody together to celebrate those things. And, we just had fun after the party was over and, Sunday turned into a lazy
recovery day.
Yeah, more so. I still got some work done in the inside of the house, but not nearly as much stuff is done around. So that was the weekend for the most part. But Samantha on Friday, we got some stuff done, but we're at the stage now where we're just kind of fine tuning and trying to lay stuff out and figure everything out. There's so many working or possibilities on how to put this together as a kit, which I kind of find interesting. There's, I often figure a kit's like, this is how you do it. And there's no other exception. But with this kit, there's still a lot of variation in how you can assemble it.
Okay.
Which is great because I can tweak it to best fit my needs.
Okay.
But mentally it's hard for me to do because I'm like, where does this piece go?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Why? Like I can move it forward. I can slide it back. Like, where is it supposed to be?
What's the best location?
Yeah. What's the best location?
Yeah.
And I'm like messaging Brian. I'm like, how far does this bracket supposed to go? Where is it in relation to this? Or how long do the links need to be? And he's like, well, it depends on what size tires you're running and where you want your front axle. I'm like, but like, this is a kit. Like, isn't it? Aren't these things supposed to be exactly set? And it's not entirely the case, but it does allow you to have a little bit of wiggle room in case you're running a 2-wheel drive frame on a kit that's, not exactly designed for these things. Yeah. So,
or you're running a complete custom frame with complete custom stupid axles that don't fit anything.
Right. You can still, use make it work. A 4-wheel underground kit and make it function beautifully.
Okay. So benefits and negatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I finished tack welding the skid plate together. And Husman came over and we've like clamped it down to the mobile welding table, and I tacked it both sides of it all together. So that is more or less it's a full unit now.
Okay.
It needs to be fully welded all the way around, and I'm going to take care of that this week while Husselmutz is doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a few responsibilities that I'm going to take on this week. But so we put the skid plate in place. We put the mount in there so we could put it onto the T case. Actually, it goes onto the reduction box. And we started laying that out. We had like clamped all these brackets on there and set it all up. And we clamped on the frame link bracket. And we started like, well, how does this lay out? Like, where does this go?
Mm-hmm.
And we found that we needed to push back my frame link brackets a little bit farther.
Okay.
And they were as far back as I could go before the frame started turning.
Okay.
Right. Because there's a point at which, your frame is as wide as it is, but then it gets narrower to go up towards the engine.
Yep.
So I'm on that degreed, the angled part, and now I'm going to the flat parallel part that goes underneath their body.
Yeah.
And so we had to like slightly bend out the tabs that are on the frame link brackets, and that allowed us, and it was only it was like a few degrees that we had to just, clamped them to the table and like hit them so that these things just bent up a little bit, and it slid back more than enough distance. And so we were able to like slide those forward and back to find where the frame link brackets are going to go. That was determined by how far the skid plate was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then that all could be now, for the most part, welded together, which is cool. Well, the frame links can be tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
I believe those are in the right location. There's hardware that attaches the skid plate to the frame link.
Okay.
That is tacked to it right now.
Okay.
There's more or less one location that it can go. It is centered by the bolt that goes through the link end.
Okay.
And then it has a few degrees of rotation. And I was like, are these supposed to be perfectly parallel to the rest of this? And he said, yes. And I'm like, okay, so there's really only one answer for where this goes. So tacked that on. And then it's a matter, there's some play allowed in the skid plate for like forward and back and a little side to side to adjust it how you need it.
Okay.
And so I believe we have that more or less set up. Like
nice.
I think it's in its rough position of where it's going to need to be. It's bolted together. It's tack welded together. The only thing that's not tack welded currently is the frame links. Those are just F clamped on.
Okay. The frame link brackets.
Yeah, frame link brackets they're not. But I believe would need to go back and do, 5 times of measuring, and I think it's more or less in the right spot, and I can probably tack weld those in as well. So that whole system seems to be pretty dialed.
That's a big chunk of it. I mean, once that is in place, that allows you to then properly locate your frame brackets, your link brackets, your lower link frame brackets.
The lower link axle brackets. What do you mean?
Once the skid plate is in place,
yes,
and located, that allows you to locate the lower link frame brackets.
Yes.
Which then lets you start locating your axle brackets.
Correct. Yeah.
So, and kind of like once you get the one thing in place, everything else just kind of starts falling into place after it.
For the most part. Yeah. Yeah. So now that we have the frame link brackets, the lower link frame link brackets there, skid plate and all, I have some links that I bought when I was going to do my own DIY 3-link thing.
Okay.
I bought some links and they are within like half an inch or an inch of what Brian suggests them being. So I might use those and put the new link ends in on and just extend them a little bit.
Okay.
But as is, we set the axle up into place with the links on there. The ones that I got years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the axle's sitting in a pretty good spot.
Nice.
But Brian was saying that if I'm going to run 37s or bigger, that I should really be pushing it further, like another inch or so farther forward.
Okay.
And now that really starts moving it into my engine mount.
Mm.
And so I just need to figure out how that is going to collide, if I'm going to need to modify one thing or another. Also, I need to look at the panhard bracket on the driver's side.
Okay.
And where that hits the strike pad and how that's going to line up across, going parallel to the axle.
Yep.
And I need to put the steering box on to make sure none of that is going to be colliding.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if I'm doing all that, I might as well incorporate the steering and set somewhat the axle up.
Mm-hmm.
So then I can set the steering up and put the linkage, the tie rod and drag link on the steering components.
Yep.
So that I can just see that all these things can work together.
Yep.
At least in a temporary position, so that I can start maybe articulating things and what's going to happen and what's colliding.
Yeah.
So
that was one of the things for me, trying to figure out all those different variables of axle location, tie rod, drag link, panhard, packaging.
Yes.
So locating all that, with how long your steering arms are, how long your pitman arm is to match your turn radius you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And you change any one of those variables and everything else has to change.
Pretty much. Yes.
And you just kind of keep playing around with changing variables until everything magically lines up.
Yeah.
And that's the part for me. For somebody who does it a lot, there has to be some way that you can look at it and be like, oh, you changed this one variable or these variables to have it all line up. And this is where the resulting outcome is going to be.
Right.
But like, to me, I'm like, I would have to sit down there and spend like a week messing with one variable at a time to see how it impacts everything else to get it magically line up.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to be running into a little bit of that. And fortunately, Hussman has gone through this before or once or twice with his buggy. And
his buggy's full hydro. He doesn't have all this to worry about.
True. But I also, the benefit of, Four-Wheel Underground is Brian's customer service, and he's gone through this. Who knows how many times?
Yeah.
And I could go, I really think I need to shorten, I don't just randomly saying things here. I need to shorten my pitman arm. So I need to shorten my steering arms. And then he would go, that's a stupid idea. What you need to do is you need to like move this one thing half an inch that direction, and that'll solve all your problems. I'll be like, oh, thanks God of Brian.
Yeah.
So I actually need to start assembling things is one of my next steps, so that I can start figuring out how this is all going to work together.
Yeah.
So now that I have an idea of where my frame link brackets are going to be, I actually need to start putting together some of my steering components. I need to put the steering box on. I need to put all these things together and start making some of these link ends and everything, or the tie rod. I need to, I don't have that. So I'm going to have to make one
out of PVC.
Yeah.
That's what people do. Grab some PVC and put them in. Yeah.
And so I'm going to make these things or make a real one. I don't know, a tie rod's going to be a tie rod. It's going to be the same length. So I can probably make that one like normal, but make some of these things out of PVC pipes, maybe make some of the links out of PVC pipes. I have links, but who knows if I need to get different ones or not. Yeah. And so I would need to start actually assembling some of the axle. I need to start assembling the part of the vehicle, and it's just seeing how things collide or where they collide or what hits what, or what do I have to move, or what might I have to modify to get the best outcome possible. Yeah. We're already looking, I think I'm at full bump, kind of how I have the axle set currently. Okay. And I think I'm sitting 3 inches higher than where Dave's rides.
Okay.
So if
at full bump?
Yeah. So I'm at full bump, and I'm 3 inches higher than where Dave's 4Runner rides, where his ride height.
Interesting.
So to me, that means that I might have that's going to be roughly 3 inches of up travel.
Well, not if you're at full bump.
Well,
you're at full droop.
No, I'm at full I'm at full bump right now. The way that the axle's set, in way that I just have it, is at full bump.
Okay.
And Dave's rides 3 inches lower than that. I'm not setting mine to ride at this height. I'm setting
cab rides 3 inches lower, or the axle rides?
The axle is 3 inches lower from the frame than where my axle is currently to the frame.
Okay. I'm okay. So okay, go ahead.
So what I'm just saying that if mine is, because mine's gonna be similar to the way that Dave's is, because he has the more or less same frame that I have, and a different axle, but same suspension in more or less theory. So the vehicle's gonna have to go. Well, the axle is gonna go down 3 inches for ride height. For driving, like around, the axle is going to be down.
You're going to have
roughly
3 more inches of suspension. Your body and chassis is going to be 3 inches higher than Dave's. If you're at full bump at his ride height.
No. So, okay, back up. Where my axle is set now is at full bump. And where Dave's axle is 3 inches below where my axle currently is. So I'm saying that because his vehicle's at ride height, right? He drove it over and he parked it on my front pad, and I measured from his frame down to his axle, and it was 3 inches lower than where mine currently is, but mine's at bump. So mine will be down 3 inches in theory at ride height. My axle will be down.
Your axle will be down, but that's a different thing you're measuring. You're measuring frames. So you're using frame. You're using the frame as the reference point, right?
I'm using the frame to figure out what his ride height was.
Yeah. So you're okay.
But that means if his ride height is where it is 3 inches below where mine currently is, that more or less tells me that I'm going to have 3 inches of up travel.
Okay.
Roughly. Yeah. I'm guessing, this is a very rough measurement off of a rig that's similar, but not as going to be as custom as mine's going to be.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of an interesting thing. So, and I think mine's going to be a little lower overall than where his is. But I'm not sure. Well, I'm just, as of currently, I think I'm going to have 3 inches of up travel.
Okay.
That's all. That's
on the 14-inch coilovers, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have 11 down, 3 up roughly. You don't get the full 14 all the time, but roughly.
Yeah, unless I start doing some modifications. So one of the things that is very, very close and how things can collide is my clutch slave cylinder.
Yep.
That has a breather that sticks out towards the exterior of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And the upper link goes really close to that.
Yep.
So I did a shout out on Instagram to see if anybody had any solutions, or should I just drill and tap it in a different location or what? And a few people sent me links to other slave cylinders that have the breather either sticking out the front or out the back or straight up.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
That should supposedly will work. There's there's Land Cruiser ones that have them out the front or back. And then there was one from Summit that just looks like a Summit built thing that has one that goes straight up.
Okay.
So I think that'll give me a little bit more wiggle room with my upper link, and I can kind of play with that. So yeah, there's so much.
Have you looked at the Forerunner?
Yours? No.
Because it's close.
Yeah.
It was a matter of I think it's like a 1/4 inch clearance. Yeah. Something like that that I have between that upper link and the slave cylinder.
Right.
So I don't know if you wanted to take a look at that. Yeah. And see if you can glean anything from it. But yeah.
I also had a few people, Kevin Poole is one of them, sent me hydraulic, shoot, I forgot what the name is, but it goes inside the axle. Or it goes inside the transmission and the bell housing and pushes the clutch away. And it's instead of a clutch slave, it's this hydraulic, I forgot what the name of it is.
It's a clutch actuator.
It's a clutch actuator inside of the transmission or inside the bell housing.
I know that the old, I want to say the early mid 90s Ford Rangers had that clutch hydraulic system.
Okay.
It's nice because it's hidden away.
Yeah.
But it sucks to bleed that system.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
You have to. I don't even know how you would do it, but I've heard it's one of the worst jobs on those trucks is bleeding the clutch system. Yeah, the clutch hydraulics.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having it outside, and sort of stockish. Also that it's like $70 for another clutch slave.
Yeah.
And it's like $200 for the hydraulic version.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I might try the outside one first, and see how things kind of go. And then if there's not enough room, then maybe I do have to go to the inside one, but I don't think I'm going to need to.
I don't think you will. That's the benefit. The real benefit of doing a linked system is you can set up your hard bump stops.
Yeah.
And your hard droop and your articulation so that you know that clearance is clearance with link systems and link setups. You know how everything's going to move around. Unlike leaf springs, you can always compress them a little bit more. You can always, right? I don't feel like you can fully articulate and suspension out your leaf spring suspension, right? So
I agree. So it's a hydraulic throw out bearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that route or not. I think I'm just going to buy another clutch slave that has the breather in a different location.
I like that option best.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And then there was just, some people are like, well, move it. And I was like, well, you can't really move it. Like
you could move it, but then you got to build a whole new arm
to push it in another, like you extend the arm up and then move the clutch slave up and then it pushes in a different location. I'm like, that would be a lot more work.
Yeah.
But I'm shocked about how fast everything seems to be going together. I don't know why I thought that it would be a lot longer of a process.
Oh, okay.
But it as much as I said earlier that it's like, this is a kit, but there's a lot of options. It's a kit and it goes together very easily, like planned. It's just that you need to figure out what works best for your situation
and what you want to accomplish
and how you want to accomplish it. And then that it's done. It's there. Yep. And as long as you follow the rules of like, these brackets should only be so far out.
Yeah.
Don't go any farther, or, this needs to be at 4 degrees clock. And I think the kit's going to work as intended.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for that, but I think I'm getting to the part where I'm like, okay, now this is going to take a long time to figure out, because I think like putting it together and setting things up on the axle, welding things in place and moving, setting these brackets up, where it's all like took a while, but it was all fairly like, this is where it goes. But now I'm getting to the point I feel like, oh, how is it all going to work together? Like, is there an issue? How do I adjust it? Where do I move it? From there. So I'm a little concerned here in the near future about just how it all is going to work. But the next week for me is sort of going to be like fully weld up the skid plate, put the axle for the knuckles and things on the axle, get that's ready to go. Maybe I'll put the third member in so I can get driveline degrees and make sure that the driveline is not going to collide with the skid plate. Or maybe I need to move the skid plate further back, just something there. And then, just tie rod, drag link, panhard bar. How does that all work together?
Yeah.
And I think, obviously I've never done this before, but I think if it's going to be done, that's going to be it.
Pretty much. Once that's your next, like the first step is starting to locate your brackets. The next step is getting all the steering to package with the panhard and everything.
Right.
After that, it's all pretty straightforward. Like it's just kind of burning everything in, and the rear axle is going to be way simpler.
Yeah.
Than the front axle always is. So, I think once you figure out packaging on all the steering setup stuff in the panhard, once that's done, I think you're going to have half the amount of time that you spent up to now completing the rest of the project.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, maybe. I think, once the panhard and tie rod and stuff is done, the rear axles is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah.
The rear axle, I do have a lot of weld time on the trailing arms coming up.
Yeah.
So that
was going to be my next question is, have you started welding together the trailing arms? Cause that could be a great project for when Hussman can't come over and help locate stuff. And you just sit there and spend a week welding up the trailing arms.
Exactly. So I have the skid plate to weld up, which is going to be a little bit, and I'll do a few welds all kind of around and just space it out. And we've been clamping it down, so it's going to keep its shape the best possible. And so that won't be too difficult to get done. And then, I mean, I know how to put the steering components on. It's the same exact thing as my truck.
Yeah.
Just wider.
Yep.
And, so I'm using the 6-shooter knuckles from Trail Gear, and, I know how to find the proper tension that everything's supposed to be at. Yeah. And so I know how to do all that. And so this was for the most part a decent week for Hussman not to be able to show up, because there's a lot of stuff that I can take care of on myself that I don't need the expertise and supervision and make sure that I'm doing something.
The adult
correct.
supervision.
Yeah, the adult supervision of Hussman. So, no, but it's a blessing to have him there, because there's I just have 101 questions, and I think Brian would absolutely hate me if I kept messaging him all these questions to make sure I'm doing these things right.
Yeah. Brian's like, this marketing contract is not worth it anymore.
No,
I'm out of here.
Yeah. And they're just simple. Like, why does it matter if this is turned this way? Yeah. Isn't there enough play in the joints that you don't have to be so precise here? And, and Hussman can answer a lot of those questions, and I don't have to bother Brian about them. But then there's every once in a while we go, how does this actually weld together here? What does this do? And so we message Brian, send him a DM or send him a text, and he gets back pretty quick.
Yep.
So it's a benefit of having a well-designed and knowledgeable person behind the phone there that can answer your questions. It's a benefit instead of a DIY thing when not putting Rough Stuff down. Rough Stuff's a fantastic company, but Rough Stuff's 3-link DIY kit, if you had a problem setting this thing up and you called Rough Stuff, they wouldn't be able to answer it for you.
Yeah.
It's just, they make the parts, you figure out how to put it together.
Yep.
Brian makes the parts, he knows how it goes together, and he can answer that for you, which is great.
Yep.
So. Yeah, but it's fun. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Nice.
It's fun to hang out with Hussman, weekly these days. Haven't had done this since we were probably in our early 30s or something like that, when we were both building our rigs a lot. And, just we would go over to each other's house once a week and just wrench on something. So it's fun to get that going together. It's fun to learn something new. I was going to build Samantha very similar to Bobcat and try a few new things. And I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying some stuff completely new. I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm not the best welder, but this, projects like this are going to absolutely make me better welder. And I'm going to get from booger welds to, who knows, stacking quarters or laying dimes or whatever it is. I'm going to, get there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get this thing done. I know that, have we talked about the event? Can we talk about the event that I'm trying to get this done for? The
Morphlate one?
Yes.
Oh, I was going back and forth on this. We do need to announce it anyways. Marlin Crawler Roundup is canceled this year.
Okay.
They have said that they're going to do it next year, as the 20th year of Marlin Crawler Roundup. And it'll be kind of the last year that they're going to do it.
Okay.
So I've been looking at, I think I've talked about this on the podcast, of helping them out to see if what all really goes into an event at the Rubicon Springs, to see if I want to take it over and kind of keep it as a Marlin Memorial event.
Okay.
But have kind of Morphlate take over running the event, dealing with all the logistics and everything. So Christine and Mike don't have to do it anymore.
Sure.
And so anyways, the event got canceled this year, but the reservations were still reserved at the Springs, Rubicon Springs. So I talked with Mark and Maria down at the Springs, and I said, if I wanted to do something with Morphlate this year and just have a small invite only kind of thing, could I reserve and keep the VIP area reserved? She said, yeah, no problem. How many vehicles do you want? And I was like, how many vehicles can you fit back there? And she goes, we've had up to 50 back there before. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That's a lot of vehicles in that area.
Like, let's aim at for 30.
Yeah.
So, we are doing a Morphlate get together, I guess, down at Rubicon Springs that same weekend that roundup would have been September 19th through 21.
Yes.
It's also going to be I'm going to treat it sort of like a Marlin Memorial as well, because that was also his birthday, September 16th.
Okay.
So we'll also have that. The 30 vehicles that I'm inviting, Morphlate is going to cover the camping for. So the costs of camping, if anybody else wants to show up and camp at Rubicon Springs that weekend, you're more than welcome to.
Right.
Come on, hang out. It'll be a really fun weekend. There's no quote unquote guided trips. We're not coordinating any trips through the trail.
Right.
It's just be there at the springs that weekend, and enjoy the weekend.
Right.
So bring your own food, bring your own drinks, bring your own camping equipment. And then if I have invited you personally, or one of my employees have invited you, then...
Ooh, you sure you want to go that far?
I've told them that it's okay, but they need to tell me. I need a list, a guest list kind of thing. We'll be covering your camping for that, but otherwise plan on covering your own camping. It's $20 per vehicle per night. That's there. And that goes all back into the maintenance of the Rubicon Springs. So
yeah.
So
my goal is to get Samantha there.
Cool.
For that event.
That would be awesome.
That's my goal. I'm having an issue with Rubathon again this year. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. I believe the mini assistant, is tried out. She's in an audition show this year, where she actually had to audition to get into the cast.
Yeah.
To be a part of the play, and she made it. And like 80 people tried out. They took high 30s, like 38 people. And she got a lower average role, but she's young in the cast of things. So it's just a good job that she made it and that she beat out the rest of that crowd. And now she can actually show what she can do. Anyways, her theater performances are roundup weekend.
Rubathon weekend.
Rubathon. Yeah. Thank you. Rubathon weekend. But they're Friday and Saturday. So I might wheel in on
Thursday and do a day trip or something?
Thursday, hang out, drive out Friday, or something. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to pull it off. I'd love to still go out, say hi to people, see Steve and everybody that's on the mini truck 4Runner run. Yeah. And, shake babies, kiss some hands or whatever it is. And that I would have to take off again. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out, but I'm not going to be able to hang out there very long. So I'm not really making Samantha a push for that. Okay. And I think another month is going to give me an extra hand. Yeah. And make sure that everything's right and ready to go. So I think that Samantha's debut on the Rubicon is probably going to be that Morphlate weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to have you down there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to figure out how to put a rooftop tent on that thing, but that'll be fun. I'm excited for it. I've got a lot of fun things planned. I've shot videos. I haven't released anything yet, but I do plan on getting some content going, editing, and figuring out a good release schedule for this. I don't want to jump the gun and have a lull in the middle of it. So I'm kind of figuring I might start just shooting videos and editing videos. And then sort of when I know I'm going to get near the finish line, I might start releasing everything.
Cool.
That said, I do have a video that came out yesterday. So if you guys want to go see my face on YouTube, because you've missed me over the last year or plus, maybe two, go check out SnailTrail4x4 podcast or the SnailTrail4x4 YouTube channel. And there's a new video there with what Tyler and I did with Coyote.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's cool to see some Snail Trail YouTube videos coming out.
Yeah, it's fun to shoot them again too. I'm having to relearn a lot and figure it out. And it's a little, I wouldn't say it's awkward with Hussman around. It's just normally I'm doing it all by myself. And sometimes we're moving so fast that I feel like I have to forget or tell him to stop because I need to shoot that. So, but he knows that this is, a production setup. So, he's forgiving on me sometimes. So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
cool.
I'm excited. Things are moving. It's going pretty well, I think, so far. And if the major hurdle of this is, I think, what is directly in front of me right now.
Yeah.
And then after this, I think a lot of it is fairly simple.
There's a big light coming at the end of the tunnel after you get through this hurdle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
the rear suspension is going to be much easier. There's going to be a little bit of packaging that I have to figure out with that. There is going to be some packaging that I have to figure out with the shocks and how the shock hoops and things are going to work in the engine and up into the engine bay or what that is. And then, I mean, I'm definitely going to have shock hoops poking through the bed on Samantha's bed there. And I'm going to have to cut a lot of body away in the front of that truck. So there's going to be some stuff that might be interesting. I might have to relocate the battery, move things around. So there's still a lot of work to be had even after this suspension is done. But I think, I don't know why, but my mental block is on the 3-link up here. And I don't have a problem with a Sawzall and cutting body panels away. But just making sure that the suspension is going to be right is my major concern. Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of good resources in Brian and Hussman. So I think you're going to do just fine. And I agree. The packaging, the front, everything is your next big hurdle. And it's really, in my opinion, the biggest hurdle.
Right.
So,
yeah,
but it's fun. It's cool that you're learning that. When I did all mine, I was like, I don't really care to learn about the suspension stuff. I wanted to learn about axles.
Sure.
And so I did stupid axles and put them all together myself, built them myself. After that, I was like, somebody else can put the suspension on.
Yeah.
I'll try and make it easy for them and get stuff with 4-wheel underground. So it's easy to put in. Most of it's all figured out. It works great. I love it. So it's kind of neat that you're learning a lot more about the suspension, the packaging part of it. I get to share that process with everybody. While mine was more of just kind of more the axle building part of it. So
kind of, and then, but you've had the last year or so on the suspension and enjoying the suspension and talking about it like our pre-roll ad talks about and everything. True. So yeah, it's been a long time coming and I'm glad it's finally here because I'm enjoying every minute of getting some shop time and working and setting this side the time aside to be able to do these things.
Nice.
And it's a phenomenal kit to do it with. As we've kind of talked about before, where you can start off doing this all DIY, or you can start off with something that's already pre-designed and works, that knows it works and the layout works and set up correctly. And you get a good step into fabrication and geometry with a kit that's already designed and worked together.
Yeah.
And then if you want later, you can go and do your own DIY thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. Good stuff. I'm glad to hear that the 4-wheel underground stuff is going well.
Yeah.
For you. I'm excited to see it out on the Rubicon this year, Jimmy.
Yeah. It'll happen.
And I'm excited to do some more camping with the little dude. Get him out on the Rubicon this year. I got some quite a few trips planned, surprisingly, for him being 1 year old. So I'm excited. We're about ready to get into summer here. There's not really too many more storms coming through. I think we're out of winter.
Yep.
And with the way that the snow was up this weekend, it's going away very quickly. So we're getting into summer wheeling here. Most of the seasonal closures in NorCal are staying closed through April. So probably the last week of April is when we're going to hear an update evaluation on whether they're going to open May 1st or stay closed until Memorial Day, May 30th.
Okay. Nice.
So that's typically how they run things. So, but Rubicon Trail's open if you want to go play on that. It doesn't close you around. So
it absolutely is.
Anything else for everybody out there?
I think the last thing out there is I'm matching donations to the Blop project.
Yep.
If you guys are considering donating to the Barrett Lake bathroom situation that's out there, and cleaning that up and building a trailer and building new outhouses for anything Barrett Lake. If you make a donation to the Highlanders or you make a donation through Moreflate, just copy me on that or send me a message or a picture of your donation, and then I will tally that, and I'm going to match donations up to $500, and I'd be more than happy to donate that amount. And
that's pretty cool.
If you guys are donating out there, I hope this pushes you over the edge to do that.
Yep. Highlanders have their Venmo set up, so you can do electronic payments through them now. If you want to keep them because you trust me and Moreflate with your money more for some reason, I'll still make sure it gets over to them. I've cut my check for $2,000, so I'm excited to see the bathrooms hopefully get installed as soon as the trail goes open, so that they can get used this year and we don't have to use that vault toilet anymore.
Yes, I agree with that for sure.
Cool. Awesome. If you guys want to get in touch with us, leave us a voicemail, have some feedback for us. Tell us how much we suck. Then you can definitely do that. That's 916-345-4744 is the phone number. It doesn't ring. We don't hear it ringing. It goes to voicemail. So you can call anytime, whenever you want. We don't care. Leave us a voicemail. We'll go through them on Friday's episodes, which is tomorrow. This is Thursday, right? This is Thursday. So tomorrow. We love it. That's one of our favorite segments with the show now. So call in. We love conversing and getting some camaraderie down with you guys. If you want to get in touch with Jimmy or myself, just to send us a private message, slide into our DMs. You can do that at SnailTrail4x4 on Instagram. That's Jimmy. He monitors that account. And I'll be monitoring 4x4 Toyota Tyler on Instagram. And then there's, of course, emails, Facebook, I rate 4x4, lots of different ways to get in touch with us. So, Jimmy Jet, can we go play with this RC car now?
I was going to say those were pretty much going to be my final words. Was let's go play with this RC car. But I also know that you've always kind of itched for portals.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you're going to buy portals for this RC car, the Vanquish Yokohama edition.
Probably will.
Before you buy them for Kermit.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I want tracks for this as well. That way I can see what portals and tracks together combined look like. So.
All right, Brandon, get on that.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
Where in America,
California,
is the best place
Stockton, to get murdered?
Yeah, well, that's true. Where in America is the best place to shop for a football uniform?
For a football uniform, the New Jersey.
Yeah, good job, New Jersey.
I was going to say Jersey, but I was like, no, it has to be a New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Proud of you. You're getting this dad joke thing down.
Smarter. I've been having practice now.
Yeah, 1 year in.
Yeah, I actually drove them a little crazy and we left a day early camping. So it was,
nice.
Yeah.